Hello, everyone. I'm Plasmoyer, as many like to call me, that guy with the afro. Now, before I really get into this, once again, I will say it for everyone who will hear me. I do not accept, condone, or allow sexual harassment of any kind. I've said this way too many times on this channel last year. Anyway, point is, I wanted to talk about the whole Mignogna thing, and at first I was kind of looking like, there's not much here until I came up with a quick search of the Anime News Network site. Now, let me make sure we understand something. There are things that I will say, okay, it looks innocent enough, but there's some more details here in this news article, which I will link, that really bother me a bit. Now, let me explain something. It's okay to be affectionate with people at a convention if they allow it. I'm not one of those people who likes to hug. Please do not come up to me and give me that big, really happy-go-lucky, I love you, get off of me before I hurt you kind of feeling. You know what? I'm one of those people. Don't touch me unless I like handshake, bro hug. That I can understand. So when I saw what's going on with Vic Mignogna at first, I mean, I've heard the details of how, oh, he's just a big, picky, jerk-offish kind of person to people, but never seemed like the kind of creepy person out there. Now, let me explain something. A lot of what I've been reading is firsthand accounts from a lot of different sources, and some of them cannot be verified, and some of them could be. Now, I'm not going to come out here and say this person said this and that. A lot of it happens to be, from what I'm seeing, pre-2005, 15 now. Pre-2015. I'm saying there is stuff here, and yeah, I will say this stuff has to be looked at back then. And why I feel like I'm not going to play the "this is what happened back then" card is because apparently this is one of those moments that this was at the time where Vic Mignogna was like, oh, I'm going to be this wholesome Christian person. Now, I agree. I've had it in my How to Deal with Street Preachers video that there are Christian preachers out there that are terrible, but this guy actually voice acted the Gospel of John, so I can't exactly say he wasn't thinking ahead of himself. So some of this looks really bad, to say the least. A lot of it is pre-2015, but I gotta go on a limb here and say, yeah, this stuff was going on during the time we all thought, oh, there could be no wrong going on at conventions. So allow me to set the stage from what I know. Personally, I've never encountered this with Vic Mignogna. I mean, sure, I've had a picture or two taken of the guy, but I've never really gone out and had any issues. There haven't been any problems like, ooh, that doesn't look good, and that doesn't look good, and that doesn't look good. True that it happened now. I see it actually happened on this article, that there are pictures here that some of them are innocent, I admit that, but one of them really rings out for me. And I'm not going to name names because, again, sometimes I don't know all the details, but one of them is this guy, is this lady. I don't really know how old they are. He was definitely getting really too close. Had his hand inside her jacket, not anything upstairs in the chest area, but you could see that this is kind of like that goes a little far. And there's something about on one of these parts where he actually has one of his articles. Sent out. It was a phone number. Now I cannot confirm or deny that this actually was something extreme, but assumingly, phone numbers are not something you just give somebody and they keep a record of on their pictures displaying, hey, this is a phone number for me here. Now, yes, some of these pictures are bad, but I'm looking at it and only one of them really seems like it's even slightly annoying. It's not horrible. I mean, let me also add on to this because I kind of feel like, yes, there's something here, but it's really how much is there? when you take these pictures, folks, when you actually do a lot of this stuff, it is pretty consensual that you get these pictures taken. Like, oh, here's a picture of me and said voice actress or actor talking about certain things that, I mean, at a convention. I don't mean the John Lay effect. Don't get me wrong. Not like out and about on Facebook or something like that. Talking about how we had this one drink at this one time at this one place. You know, usually these pictures are, you're supposed to be taking these. Now, okay, maybe 5 years later, you don't feel the same way. Okay, I can get into that. But I don't feel like in this circumstance, it's enough to warrant me saying Vic Mignogna is a sexual predator yet. Now, here's the problem. And this is why I'm actually kind of going on Vic's side a little more than I would normally, is that I never even heard of this until Anime Matsuri decided to invite them to their convention. So let me make sure we understand this. This is somebody I've known at conventions since 2005. One of my first conventions, Vic Mignogna was there. And I know people have said a lot of things, but I have never seen anything personally up until this point. So I'm going to kind of get on this why now factor. I mean, why now when he got invited to Anime Matsuri did somebody say he's a sexual predator? He's a big touchy-feely guy. I mean, it kind of sounds fishy here. And don't get me wrong, John Lay deserves every bit of ridicule you're going to give him for being a sexual predator. No question about it. But Vic Mignogna is kind of like, yeah, I can see if he did something majorly, I can kind of look at it now and see that's a possibility. But how much is there then that happened in 2014? I mean, don't get me wrong, people can change. I'm not saying what happened didn't happen. Now, make sure we understand that. But I also think, you know, there's got to be something more substantive than this now that it's all coming out here. You think about it. You've got convention attendees, you've got guests, you've got staff, you've got volunteers, you've got vendors, you've got media. Somebody, somewhere should have said this long before now. I mean, don't get me wrong. Conventions are not secret. I mean, what happens at a convention can stay at a convention, but it's never been about secrecy. You're not going to get that everything is quiet kind of deal. Because I hate to say it, a lot of conventions talk. Like, I'm talking now. I'm talking on the side. I'm not representing Delta HCon in this particular instance. That's just a shirt I'm wearing. But a lot of us talk around. So we hear things. We know things. Yes, I got Vic Mignogna had a big ego from a lot of people. Yes, I get how he's been a big jerk. But I've never got that creep vibe until now. Now I get a little bit of sense of something is wrong. I will admit that. So what should happen here? Well, first off, I'm not sure how much of this is consensual, meaning the person involved actually meant this to happen. You know, I mean, again, if you take these pictures and these photographs, it does add a little degree of consent that you are going to hug, kiss, whatever. I don't know how much of this is predatorial. So it's kind of like a mix. Do I believe some of this is predatorial? Maybe, but I don't see enough yet to warrant saying that's the nature of the beast. What should happen, though, is Vic Mignogna, knowing Anime Matsuri's history, should immediately say, you know what, I'm not interested anymore. I don't want to go to this convention. I'm bowing out. And he should do something to further the causes of dealing with people who do actually have these things, like do actually talk about how they're uncomfortable with certain convention guests and how they were in a way sexually harassed. He should go to that and say, you know what, I didn't do that, but here's my counter to that. Here's what I would say instead of going to Anime Matsuri, let's do this. That's what I think should happen. It probably won't, because I hate to say it. As one of my friends eloquently said, as long as there are new 14-year-olds, there'll always be an anime convention. And Anime Matsuri is sadly going to be no different. Now, I'm not going to say I'm going to tar and feather Vic Mignogna in a public square. I don't know enough. I don't have the actual facts to this story to say he's going to get, he deserves to get ridiculed. So before I get to that point, let me explain that. Do I believe something happened inappropriate? Possibly. I just don't know if it's consensual or not. And there's where the difference lies in consent. Now, to be fair, somebody did say, I believe it was on one of the seasons of Hard Knocks, they say yes yet hour ago, they say yes tonight, they say yes tomorrow morning, in a year they say no. That's a possibility of what happened here. I'm not saying that it did happen that way. I'm not saying it didn't, but it's a real factor in this situation. So I think that it was blurry at the very least. Now, let me add in one more thing. That doesn't make this right for Vic Mignogna to do that. Because now I'm going to go up to a little bit of, if he did, and he's supposed to be this godly person, I'm not saying I'm perfect, okay? But that's one of the things we try to avoid doing. I know I haven't done that exactly right. Okay, fair enough. But I never forced myself on somebody. I would never touch them inappropriately to where they were uncomfortable. Yeah, I get that. We're not supposed to be into this whole world of sexual misbehavior. So I will agree, if that's the case, yes, that is something you can knock them on. But that's not something that's unfixable, Again, going away from the whole, this is how I like to be, and I don't want to preach, but it's not like, oh, you can't run away from that and you can't repent of that. So that's something I can say, no, that is a possibility, but he can still repent and say, you know what, I've made a mistake. I apologize if he actually did something immoral. Now, I'm not sure if this is illegal. I don't know if it's unconsensual. That's the key point. But I do believe there's something here, and Vic Mignogna really needs to distance himself from Anime Matsuri and try to bridge a gap. Now, that being said, bridges are made for different kinds of things, and I need a bridge because I hate to say this, it looks like there's going to be some life choices as of late that I might have to change a lot of things. So this is becoming more and more of a priority to actually do YouTube videos. I know I'm small. I know I'm not big name guy right now, but I want to keep doing this, actually going to conventions and doing more live streams. The only reason why I couldn't do it at PAX South is because the reception there was horrendous. I couldn't get a reception on my phone to save my life. So like, share, and subscribe to help me get out my word, because right now I'm still one guy in my bedroom with a webcam. I swear I'm like the Mark Dice of anime conventions, and I'm not trying to get political on that either. So yes, consider donating to my PayPal at plasmawarrior2002@gmail.com. And hopefully we can do something about this train of sexual misconduct that has been going on in the anime community in the last year and a half, basically. Hopefully there's something more to work on here. I hope Vic Mignogna realizes that before he makes a bigger mistake. Until then, later.